you doing today? This is Dameion Watkins coming to you from the group Bipolar Peer Chat. First, I would like to thank the founder of this channel, Mrs. Gypsy Willow Rose, who gave me the opportunity to do this. So, you're the bestest, Gypsy. Today, I wanted to talk about the need for rest and relaxation. This is one that I've had some trouble with people understanding this, so I chose to speak on it. I compare having bipolar to being in a boxing ring or being in a street fight. It gets hard, very hard. There are some days when bipolar is going to pick you up, put you against the wall, beat you like you stole something. Punches to the body, punches to the head, punches to your legs, step on your toes, do everything that you can imagine. And then it's just going to walk away. You're on your knees, of course emotionally. You're bleeding, you are disoriented, you have no idea what's going on, concussion, all of that. It's time to basically, back off a little bit. You may need some rest. You may need some medicine. You may need to talk to somebody. But for the most part, you need a break from whatever's going on. Work, kids, whatever the case may be. This is where I have a problem with people not understanding. People with mental disorders. The beating that you take from bipolar disorder is not a physical. So when you walk past people, they can't see beating that you're taking mentally, sometimes even spiritually. I have doubted my higher power because, I take this emotional beating from this disorder and I look up at the sky and I'm like, really? Is this what we're doing now? Is this what we're allowing to happen? Yeah, I doubted my higher power. That's the reason why I have a problem with people who don't understand. They don't see it physically. So when you tell somebody I'm just out of it, know what to do, I don't know how to do it, but I know I need a break right now. So people look at you like, well, what's wrong? I don't see any injuries. I don't see, any blood. I don't see any broken bones. And that's what pisses me off. Because just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not happening. I've had encounters with people who will call me lazy, and also other people that I associate with this disorder, that people call them lazy because you may need to take a break from everything just so that you can recover. It's just like a beating that professional boxers take. Sometimes they take a beating. Whether they win or lose, they take a beating. So they have to push the reset button to go rest first before they can do anything else. So we take that beating sometimes emotionally. And it's very hard for our loved ones to understand that this is what's going on. What pisses me off is the ignorance. People can't see what's going on, so they just assume that you're being lazy, and I don't know how to say it nicely, so I'm just going to say it. If you don't understand what it is I'm going through, just go jump off a bridge. I mean, if that's how you feel, if you don't want to take the time to understand what I'm going through, just go do something else with yourself. I'm not lazy, I work, I bust my behind, I take care of my family, I do all of these things, but sometimes it's a little bit much, so I have to take a break. There are some providers out there, don't get me wrong, there are some great providers out there. They take their job very seriously, helping you, getting you assistance, setting you up with appointments, making sure that you are in a proper care place where you need to be. They are outstanding. But there are some providers that are like the equivalent of garbage. They're just like taking up space, and somebody needs to get them all together and put them in a landfill somewhere because they're terrible. One time I had a provider tell me that I was in my day program. I didn't show up one day, and I came back, and one of my providers was like, "Well, where you been?" I said, "Well, yesterday I was really depressed. My medication I don't think is right. My head is just not right, and I can't put it together right now. So I stayed home in a crossroads. I don't know which way is, the way I need to be going right now." This provider told me that basically, if you have a job, it's not fair to the people who work with you if you have to take time off. I'm going to say this. There are people without mental health diagnoses that need to take time off, whether they're sick, whether they're injured, whether their family member is sick or injured, whatever the case may be, they have to take time off. So, what is the difference between me not being right and a person without a mental health disorder, them not being right, or their family not being right, and they have to take off? Okay, that was probably one of the most stupidest things I've ever heard a provider actually say out of their mouth. Somebody with a college degree, and it's supposed to be pointing you in the right direction. And they just have no clue. I was actually discouraged at first because I was like, what if this is true? What if it's not right? And then it took me some time to realize that there are just some garbage providers out here. All they have to offer you is a diploma on their wall in the hospital. In their office. They can let you look at that, and that's just about it as far as what they can do for you. They're like, just as silly as the person that doesn't have the degree. They just don't get it. But they think they know everything. You can't tell them that they don't know what they're talking about. I'll be the first one to tell you there's some providers that have no idea what they're talking about. Quite frankly, they need to go back to college, take some remedial courses, and maybe refresh whatever they learned the first time, because some of them are pretty bad. Same thing with the pill pushers, the psychiatrists, the medical doctors, the pill pushers, the ones that you have this symptom and give you a pill. You have another symptom, they give you a pill. All these doctors can really offer somebody who's really trying to get ahead, who's really trying to put it together, is the diploma on the wall. You get to look at the pretty stethoscope. That's pretty much all that they can offer you. And it's sad. It's truly, truly sad. Now back to this provider. She also said that if you have to take time off because, you have this particular illness, that your boss is going to tell you that you have to make up this time that you take. I don't know about whomever's watching me right now. I don't know anything about anybody else, but I want somebody to tell me the last time you took off work sick, your boss forced you to work overtime because you missed the previous day or the previous 2 days. I have never heard of that happening. That was strike two with this particular provider. A message for family members of people with mental health diagnoses. Just because you don't see what we're going through your eyes doesn't mean that we're not going through it. If you want to help, sit down and listen. Sometimes we don't need your opinion. We don't need your feedback. We don't need none of that stuff. We just want you to listen. And that goes for, I said family, but friends also. If that's what we need, you to just sit down and listen. We don't need all of your opinions and your facts, or your stance on life, or how you do things can compare to how I do things. I don't want to hear all that. You know, just listen. It's probably the best thing you can do for somebody that's having an issue. And for those people who choose to be ignorant, you think that I don't know. You can think it's funny. You think it's cool to talk about people behind their back because they're going through something that you can't see, and you don't care to get educated. You don't care to talk to this person. You don't care to help this person. The best place for you is to drive. I want you to drive to your nearest bridge, okay? And then I want you to get out of the car, and then I want you to climb to the highest point of that bridge, preferably a bridge over a highway. But if you want to do it with a body of water underneath, you can do that too. I want you to climb to the very top, right? And I'm not talking about people who don't understand. I'm talking about people who don't care to understand. I want you to go to the very top of this bridge, and then I want you to jump the hell off, because I've just had just about enough with ignorant people. I'm 44 years old, and I am so done with ignorant people. So done. To the people with mental health diagnoses who may feel guilty because they have to take a break, or because they've had to, let the kids go for the weekend. They've had to not been able to work, and you may feel a little guilty because you can't see the damage that's been done. You can't see the fact that you're coming apart. You can't see these things. So you may feel a little guilty. I'm here to tell you that you don't need to feel guilty. It's just like if you were riding your bike and you fell off and broke your leg. Would you feel guilty because you got to take time off work? No. If you got into a car accident, would you feel guilty because you had to take time off work? Maybe you have a little whiplash. Maybe you have, some injuries. Would you feel guilty if you had to take off work? No. So the same thing applies with this diagnosis. Don't feel guilty because you've had to take time off. Don't feel guilty because it's not quite coming together right now. You're not able to pull it together. This happens to everybody, unless you're blessed. And when you were first diagnosed, you had all the right providers, good family, good friends, and they were just able to help you just keep it together the whole time. If that's the case, you're truly blessed, because I would say about 95% of us don't have it like that. And I'm not jealous, and I'm not talking bad about people like that. I'm just saying that you're truly blessed, because a lot of us had to go through a lot to get to the point where we are, being well. There are also these other kind of people that I don't really care for, your know-it-alls. When you feel like you need a rest and relaxation, and need to put it back together, and you tell them that you have this particular issue, they're going to say, well, my son has this, or my daughter has that, or I've had some of this, and I had some of that, and this is what I did. I don't care. If you know everything, hold a seminar. Get a license to be a life coach. Go to college and become a social worker or a psychologist or whatever. If you got it all figured out, take the time to do that. But meanwhile, stay out of my face. In closing, if you ever feel like it's just coming apart and you're not able to pull it together, don't be ashamed to take time off. And I mean, whatever you got to do, you go ahead and do it. Because if you fall too far down and you're not able to get back up, chances are you're on your own, because you may not be able to reach out to somebody once you get down to that point. Take the time to take care of yourself. If that means taking a break, take a break, put it together, maybe 2, 3 days. Maybe you need to see a provider. They can give you some medication adjustment, a therapy session or 2 or 10, whatever you may need. You take the time to do those things and don't be ashamed. If you get to the point where you just can't get it together at all, no matter what you do, check into the ER. There are people there who are willing to help you put it back together. I just thought that I would just put a video out there. Outreach is my thing because I've been walking this walk with bipolar for almost 20 years, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Outreach is my thing. I don't have any problem with doing this. I'm just crazy about giving back. So on that note, signing out, y'all. Have a good night.